The following is a presentation of the Healthcare Facilities Network.
Hello, this is Peter Martin. Thanks for watching this video. Just wanted to give a quick plug for a recruitment that we are doing at Southeast Georgia Health System in Brunswick, Georgia. It is for a Director of Facilities Management, so if you are interested in the opportunity, you can click this QR code, send me an email, or at the conclusion of this video, we have a link to a video we did that describes the opportunity at Southeast Georgia Health System. So 2 ways to connect. Number 1, QR code. Number 2, watch the video link at the conclusion of this episode. As always, thank you for watching, and now on to the show.
How do you stay current with what's going on?
Well, a lot of it is relationships that I have with different members of ASHE. I call them, read the magazines, HFN magazine, different things like that, talking to different people. And a lot of my responsibility now is going to different cities and states, a part of my duties as an advisory board member. So I hear a lot of what's going on in different areas. And I'm like, oh, that's coming down the pipeline, or we're not there yet, or just especially depending on what ASHE regulations they have in those different particular areas. That may be something industry-wide, excuse me, that's coming down the pipeline, but it hasn't reached my city and state yet.
Yeah.
So that's how I keep aware. And I know where you're at, oh my goodness, it's a lot of regulations that's in place that's coming down the pipeline. That everyone's going to feel the impact, the carbon decarbonization initiatives, and anything regards to sustainability. You know, that's kind of a buzzword now, even though, I mean, it's old, but it's a buzzword now.
Yeah. Well, my brother-in-law is he's a construction manager, and he does a lot of work up in this area. And, you know, there's a lot of pharmaceutical, there's a lot of biotech, there's a lot of healthcare. And we were actually just talking about that over Christmas, and he's just pulling his hair out. He's like, this, you know, the regulation that's coming down the pike is, I don't know that they being politicians, I don't know that they know the impact of what what these regulations are going to be. So it's a difficult time, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So you, in your role as Region 4, do you have Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi? Are those the states you?
Yes.
So how did
There's some islands in it too. I'm hoping ASHE wants to send me out to the islands in the Caribbean to discover all these other chapters and hospitals. So yeah,
what islands do you have?
I think everything in the Caribbean.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I can go discover.
Yeah. Yes. Well, listen, you got to make those face-to-face interactions and connections, right? How better to do it?
I know, right?
So how'd you get into ASHE? How did you decide to go for Region 4 leadership? What was you didn't have enough to do, so you thought, let me do this as well. What was your thought process?
Listen, ASHE, as I said, has a history for me of being very supportive and helpful when it comes to meeting new people. Like Ralph Graham, Bobby Beard. They're very much supporters of me and my career, and seeing potential in me that I sometimes cannot see for myself in regards to saying, hey, this be a good opportunity for you, because people like you are the future in regards to, industry starting to look different, embrace it more. So I appreciate their insight and teaching me more about ASHE and its opportunities. And I've always been active with our local chapter, the Alabama chapter of ASHE, and that's been very helpful in learning more about ASHE too, because what we do locally, or what ASHE said, or what communications, what education they brought to our chapter's attention. I learned so much about it. It's like, when they put out those items of, you can run for this, or you can potentially be awarded for what you do day to day in your industry, I just thought, like, why wouldn't I jump at this opportunity and see if I could be elected And it worked out. So
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah. And I imagine your organization is supportive of that. How do you balance the time you're out on the road versus, being in your home base, being in, your office? How do you balance that?
Oh, yes. And ironically, you do have to, commit to a lot of time. And I did speak with my organization about that beforehand. We were on the same page, the expectations of the different duties or the different travel arrangements, or, I want to call them obligations, but, some of them are optional, but it's just in our best interest to participate as much as possible. Yeah, they're on the same page, understanding the best thing about my company. They give a lot of issued out technology. So from my laptop, cell phones,
Yeah.
different things, I'm staying in the loop all the time. Different apps that have me connected to our team. I'm in a loop. And pagers. I even still have a pager.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I thought that was your phone, right? The phone was your pager.
I know. Yeah, we have both. We have both.
Yeah.
You can receive it on the actual pager, and it can be forwarded to your cell phone.
Wow. Yeah, you're always on call. How do you balance everything? How do you balance your home life, your work life, your ASHE life? What do you do? And how do you de-stress? Do you do anything to de-stress?
Yeah, I do. I work out heavily to de-stress. That's my go-to. I'm a member of my local burn boot camp. I love that
What boot
gym.
camp?
Burn boot camp.
Burn boot camp. What's the
Yeah.
burn boot camp?
It's just a franchise. Honestly, I believe it started for women, but it's open to co-ed, but majority of members are women.
Okay.
Like for our particular gym, it's like probably 700, 800 members. And I would say at least 780 are women. And then probably there's 20 men that signed up or somewhere in between. But yeah, it's a great atmosphere. It's a 45-minute, we call them camps, not a class, but a camp. You go in, you do all kind of strength training, cardio, mobility exercises, and just not the physical movements, but the friends that I've gained in that gym. They keep us accountable. They, if you miss a day, and I go 6 days a week.
Do you
I go
really?
Monday through Saturday. Yeah.
What time do you go? Are you
5 a.m.
5 a.m.? I was gonna say, because I like exercising. I can't do anything after work. But I can get out of bed easily and do something. So, but you have to get into your car and go someplace.
Yeah, I do have to go, yeah. But it's not far. It's not far from my house. But yeah, I don't mind doing after work. The problem is sometimes my cutoff line at the end of my workday is not the same every day. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
an event comes up, I have to stay longer, or I need to finish this project, or I need to, it's kind of hard to say, oh, 5 o'clock, I'm gonna get out of here, because it's not going to happen every day. So
right.
That's why I prefer to go before I go to work. And ironically, I feel like I perform better in the gym when I work out after work, because I take out a lot of stress. My calorie numbers is way higher because I'm pushing harder. And but other than just on the other end, just waking up and like, oh, I'm here, I'm trying to make it, I'm going through it. But that's one of my biggest de-stressors. Another one is I love like music, going to concerts, things like that. Spending time with my family, trying to force them. My kids are older, so I try to force them to spend quality time with us, and that's my de-stressor. But I wanted to say a point. This is just my 2 cents, but the question of people asking, how do you balance life? There is no such thing as balance. There is no such thing. There's always going to be an imbalance of what you prioritize versus what you don't prioritize in life. We're not scales to balance everything perfectly.
Yeah. So when the
I had to learn that, and what really makes it balance, honestly, is the more money you earn. And not saying for myself, I'm saying for like people in general. Like, there's multimillionaires out there that say, oh, I can do this. I have someone do this for me. I have someone do that for me. That, that's how you get to delegate and move on. But if you're just a regular person, like, you and I am calling you regular. I'm hoping you're like me.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
but,
No
but,
offense taken.
but yeah, there's no way to physically balance everything because you have to prioritize different things for different times.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when that gets out of balance for you, say that the work gets out of balance, you try to, it's like an average, right? It's kind of like average is never really average. It's composed of highs and lows. Is the
Correct.
balance kind of the same thing where if you're this way, well, you're going to balance back that way?
And if you could balance everything, wouldn't you allow only certain things to happen to you at certain times? Like you cannot stop things from happening to you.
No, you're right. That's a good point. That's a good point. How long have you thought that?
In my older years now, because
Yeah.
because I remember engineering school. I remember being a part of SWE, Society of Women Engineers, and we used to have a panel of all these different executives come by, and they'll say, "Yeah, I've done this for thousands of years, and they look beautiful." When I don't want to use the word beautiful like just because they're women, I'm talking about like they look professional, they look like they had their stuff together, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, you're perfect. I want to be just like you when I grow up." And then I asked them, how do you balance life? Because that's the thing to ask when you think like, how do you balance life? How do you balance your spouse, your children, your workload, this and that? And everyone told us they had a nanny and a driver. So it wasn't like, and I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying that delegation that allowed them to succeed, the access to resources that allowed them to get access to that helped them succeed. So
it's funny. Yeah, this is maybe too much information, but I'm still in a text chain with a couple of my buddies from going back to when I was in kindergarten through 8th grade. We still communicate, and so we're all the same age. And just 2 nights ago, one of the guys in that text chain, he sent a picture of Elizabeth Hurley, the actress, and I think she's like 59 years old. So he sends this picture of Elizabeth Hurley. And then he sends a picture of the 3 of us together. And I wrote back to him like, Lou, Elizabeth Hurley has a driver. She has a cook. She has a workout person. She's got lackeys who will do anything for us. Like, for our age, we're not bad. We don't have all that. And you're right. I mean, that takes a lot off the plate, right?
Correct. Well, I had to Google Elizabeth Hurley just to find. Oh, isn't she British or something?
Yes.
She's a singer. No,
she's an actress. She was in like Austin
Powers. Oh, yes, that is her. I do remember her. She was in Austin Powers. You're right.
Austin Powers. I know. Yeah. Oh, anyway.
But yeah, you're right. She does not look. Just to let everyone know, she does not look 58 at all. No, she does not.
No, so she does that. That's why I said, okay, Lou, she doesn't, but you've also got all these things going on. And she's even a little bit older than we are. But anyway, but that's a good point on your work-life balance. Do you like the technical pieces of the role? Like, do you find so you got your electrical engineering degree, but now you're obviously taking on increasing kind of responsibility from a leadership level. Do you miss being able to kind of do more electrical engineering, technical type things, or do you have a balance as far as that's concerned? Obviously, you're not going out in the field. I mean, it's not your role to do that, but does this job pull you away from kind of the technical pieces that you enjoy?
No, because I think personally, as an engineering student, we used to have this thing say we could do anything, because a lot of people that came back to speak, even though they had an electrical engineering degree, or the different people I met through the different organizations, student organizations I knew, because we had a lot of access to different companies, local companies. They weren't doing anything that had the job title that's just said electrical engineer. Yeah. Unless they worked directly for the power company in some kind of capacity. But so many, I did discover that early on, that so many people had roles that were just needed to fill because of their thought process, their analytical skills, their critical thinking skills, their ability to resolve problems, right? So I looked at it from that perspective. It's not that I'm necessarily missing anything. I do appreciate the opportunities to help resolve problems or fix things. And it doesn't have to be fixed things like you're saying with a tool per se, but fix broken processes, fix workflows, fix anything that comes about that need to be resolved. I enjoy that piece of our industry. Identifying something that can be made better, cost savings, teaching. You know, sometimes I can't teach everything verbatim, but I like to put all the resources or the people in the right place to say, hey, connect so this magic can happen and move on from there.
Is your thought process, are you kind of analytical? Do you like doing that CSI portion of the role? And it's funny, I'd like to find somebody. I was actually thinking before we talked, I would love to do a show that's kind of like a CSI where you take an issue and you kind of remember the show House. Do you remember that? Remember how House would do? I would love to do something like that on the facility side where we take an issue and you kind of break it down to its parts, pieces, and processes. Is that what you like? And how do you go about how do you go about doing that? Is it kind of natural for you, or what's your process like?
I think being inquisitive is natural, but I think that the process of working in facilities management is just, I got a little piece of every leader I've worked for over the years and taking their thought process and putting it together to make my own. And I think that's a part of everyone's journey, right? You make your life experiences who you are in a good way, in the sense of what did I learn from this situation, what takeaways did I have, and help your thought process evolve to be better for you, right?
Yep.
So all that being said, it's not something I picked up and said, oh, they asked question A, B, and C, and now I need to ask A, B, and C. Sometimes it just depends on, it's situational, and it depends on which view you're looking at it to get resolved. Because sometimes there's perfect things I could say in the meeting that I think is very valuable, but is it the right time to say it? Is it the right moment to say it? Are the right people in here to hear it? I have to keep all those thoughts in mind.
Yeah.
So that's a part of it. It was another piece I wanted to mention that you asked me. I'm trying to remember. Ask you one more time. You said something about other people.
CSI process.
Oh, CSI. Okay, so that's it. So ironically, I'm on the ASHE volunteer, one of their volunteer roles. And this any ASHE member can go to the website, look at what volunteer opportunities are available, but there's a facilities-a-thon initiative where they take something similar like that situation in a facility, but it's to high school students. And they give them the situation and they allow them to break it down, see what resources, like what variables are in play, what resources available, what will they need to resolve it. And it's like a competition that they you actually judge.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was great. So when you said that, I was like, oh, that exists, but it just exists for high school students right now that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of it existing for anyone higher.
Yeah, no, I'd like that would be interesting to see what they're given to break down.
Oh yeah, it's legit scenario. Like, I mean, I'm just making up something, but like from what I've seen, it's something like, hey, it's wintertime in your facility and you have a lot of water lines froze over or busted in your parking deck, and you anticipate the doors to your clinic opening at 8 a.m. How would you respond, or what will you do to allow patients to be seen and address your busted water lines?
Right. Yeah. And are you a judge in that?
I don't know if I'm a judge. I'm just on a committee helping come up with scenarios. That's what I'm helping with right now, helping a team. There's some great, smart people on that team. I don't know all their names, but there's some good people.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, this this group of people is always more than happy to help folks out and to kind of share what they know.
Yeah. And that's one thing too. Everyone has some kind of experience that they've learned from that they're like, oh my goodness, you got to hear this. This is what happened to me at my facility. And you're like, hey, what did you respond? How did you respond? What contractor did you use? What products did you use? And then you learn more and you're like, oh, let me put that in my pocket. So, and then when I get back to my office, I may Google, hey, I heard about you from so-and-so.
Yeah.
Tell me about this thing you do or you have. Yeah.
Yep.
You
Busy
should never
day.
feel like you don't know everything, but there we go.
What would you, what would your advice be to somebody starting out in this field who, maybe they were similar to you 11 years ago? Your husband says, hey, there's this role open. You never really thought of healthcare facilities management, but here you are. What advice would you give a person who's considering this field or maybe doesn't know the field and is looking for a new career?
Well, I'm gonna start off and say that, there are a lot of opportunities with skilled trades and crafts out there. Piggybacking on the sustainability effort initiatives that's out there. Everybody's saying, oh, you need solar panels, you need solar this, you need electricity to be converted from one form of energy to the other. How are you going to do it if you don't have the skilled craft to help you build these structures or maintain these structures? So that's my little leeway into saying it's an everlasting field. It's going to be something that you can't have AI and machines do for you. You're going to have that skill set of that technical knowledge and combined with your hands and making things happen and work. So that's somewhere to start, to say facilities management. Even though I really appreciate healthcare facilities management in itself is going to be a great field to enter. Regardless of what side of the building you walk into, because the pretty side where you have the user experience or the customer experience, I want to say, there's always the other side of that same facility to help keep it maintained, help upkeep the air quality, the electricity you're using, the lighting, even the perspective of keeping it clean. It's all a part facilities management, and that's an industry that's always in need of the next brighter star to come in and make your mark in this industry that allows you to make your mark in a good way. Yeah. Right? Because you're always going to be needed in some form or fashion to support any kind of infrastructure. So I do give advice to even my own family members. Hey, healthcare facilities management is an industry that's everlasting, because as healthcare grows, you need the infrastructure to support it to grow as well. All these new technologies to scan, read different body vitals or whatever that comes about in technology in regards to medical equipment, you need a support team to support it, the infrastructure of it. So as people get older, that's one thing about healthcare too. It hits every facet of life. From you being born to eventually leaving. So it's with the human being from beginning to end. So I think
that's kind of the irony of not having enough people like to work in the field, or you're just talking about, your skilled trades, take EV, whatever it happens to be. Like, everybody in society goes through hospitals. Like, we walk into these hospitals, you walk into a hospital how many times in your life, and you have no idea that this opportunity exists. So like, everybody enters it, but few people know that you could really make a pretty good career out of it, out of this building. Somebody's got to keep it up.
Correct. No, I agree. But you know, it's crazy. There's so many people that have fears of entering hospitals.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Like, I guess you take it for granted, coming into a hospital every day, but there's a lot of people that fear it. Like going to a dentist kind of deal.
I got to go to the dentist tonight. I'm not looking forward to it, but I got to go.
Good luck.
Yeah, everything should be okay. Everything should be okay. But yeah, you're right. I never really thought of that fear component of it. So my guest is Lotoya Beard. Lotoya is the executive director of hospital maintenance. Lotoya, are you, as you look back and as you look forward, are you happy that you went this career route? And as you look out to the future, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm very happy at this career choice or being selected by my career. I am very happy by this opportunity. I mean, the past 5 years, even including COVID, has been revealing to me of what we do and how we do it, right? The reason why we do it. And as I spoke to before about how healthcare touch every facet of your life,
Yep.
you know, as I said, you take for granted walking into these doors, being healthy enough to walk through these doors, come to work, do what you need to do, and leave out these same doors. And so many people around you are coming in with different things on their mind, their hearts,
Yeah.
around you. So I appreciate the opportunity to help provide the best environment of care for patients, staff, and everyone that enters our doors
Yeah.
or have some relation to the hospital. So no, I definitely appreciate this opportunity. It's when people ask me what I do, like if they don't know me, I just say, hey, I work in maintenance. And they go, oh, really? What you do? I work in facilities management for the hospital, and I go that spill. But they were like, what hospital? Or where, you know,
Yep.
how big is that? They start, is that your job for real? Like, yeah, yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah,
making it up.
yeah, I think, yeah. So all that being said, I appreciate this opportunity, this job. So much I've learned. It's so much of what people were willing to teach me over the years.
Guess you one last question. At this level, at the executive director level, how much, and you've touched on both of these things as we've talked, how much of the skill set you use, like how much is your technical skills and how much of like kind of your soft skills, your communication, leadership, everything you've talked about, what's the split? What's the percentage split at this level for you on a day-to-day basis? What do you use more? Is it 50-50, 60-40? What's that? I always like hearing what people say to that.
I would say honestly 50-50. The reason why I say 50-50 is because I do sit myself in the middle of that because I have such great team members on my team that help fill gaps
Yep.
of where I may be weak. So because of that and their assistance and ability to help and come through in a clutch when needed, I say I lie right in the middle because wherever they need me, that's where I can go, regardless of what side of the world it is. And even if I don't know everything technically or personnel wise, I will gather the resources available to get it addressed and get it resolved.
Excellent. Excellent. I always like to hear what people say because some people go, and I think part of it probably depends on the organization as well.
And how they started. Because I know a lot of people that started from being a craftsman themselves, like, oh, I started as an electrician, then I worked my way through the organization. And the best thing about being involved in ASHE, honestly, to me, is that being able to hear everyone's story and how different it is.
Yeah.
Because it's not some kind of textbook layout of how you get to your personal success, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's
So
why
that's
I
a
like
good
doing
thing.
these because everybody's got a unique story, right? There's not a, there's not a traditional career path. They don't exist. People come at it from all these different avenues.
Correct. And that's even makes the story better. That makes their ability to lead better because they have different perspectives. And so, I mean, I appreciate that all in itself. You know, I hear all the time someone say, oh, I used to be a policeman and now I'm in hospital safety or infection prevention. I'm like, what? You know, but I love it. I love the dynamics of it all because everyone has a story to tell or share in some kind of way. Something always cross paths to be like, oh, that's relatable from where I came from or what I'm doing now.
Yeah, and I think that's really important too to have those different experiences at the table as opposed to somebody being at a place for 45 years and it's the only thing they've ever seen. All those different elements bring a different perspective and it allows you to kind of have more viewpoints at a table, which is often what you need in these environments.
1,000%.
Yeah. Well, Lotoya Beard, thank you so much for appearing with me today.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So this is Peter Martin from the Healthcare Facilities Network. As always, thank you for tuning in, and we will be back in the future with another episode. Lotoya, have a good day.
All right.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Healthcare Facilities Network.